Justice punishes. The sentence ends, but the pain remains. So what is justice?
You know, every single society has to face this one huge question. When someone does something wrong, what do we do about it? Today, we're going to dive into two really different answers to that question, two very distinct paths to what we call justice. Wow, this question, it just cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? It really makes you stop and think, what are we actually trying to do with justice? Is the goal just to punish, or is there something more we should be aiming for? Let's start with the system that most of us probably know best. All right, so this is the model that's been dominant for, well, centuries. We're talking about retributive justice. The logic behind it is pretty straightforward, and its focus is crystal clear. Okay, so the key idea here, the big one, is this concept of a moral balance. The thinking is, a crime isn't just breaking a rule on a piece of paper. Nope, it's someone misusing their freedom, and that act literally throws the world off kilter. So punishment becomes the force you need to push back and set things right again. And what's so striking when you look at it this way is just how clean and simple the process seems, right? It's like a form of cosmic accounting. A crime happens, which creates a debt. A punishment is applied to pay off that debt, and once it's paid, boom, the books are balanced. It's all very neat. You've all heard this one, an eye for an eye. It perfectly nails the core idea here, which is proportionality. The punishment is supposed to fit the crime. It's not about just being cruel for the sake of it. It's about a measured, balanced response that kind of mirrors the original harm. And if you want to see this logic in action today, look no further than the prison system. I mean, we literally measure out justice in units of time. A smaller crime gets you a few years, a bigger one gets you a lifetime. The debt is paid off one day at a time. But here's the question. Is that really the whole story? Yeah, and this is where we start to see the cracks in the foundation. Because when you focus so much on just the offender and balancing their scales, you can end up ignoring some pretty huge pieces of the puzzle. I mean, really think about it. Does locking someone up automatically heal the victim's trauma? Does it magically repair the trust that was shattered in a neighborhood or fix the broken relationships between families? The hard truth is, a lot of the time, the answer is just no. The system just wasn't built to do those things. And this model, this whole idea of repaying a debt, it just completely falls apart when you're faced with something truly unimaginable, like genocide. I mean, how many years in a cell could possibly repay the murder of millions? You can't do the math. The harm is too big, so a proportional punishment is literally impossible. So, at its core, this whole system is really designed to answer one single question. What does the offender deserve? It's all about getting what's owed. But what if that's not the only question we could be asking? What if we ask something completely different? And that brings us to our second path. Let's talk about restorative justice. And let me tell you, this isn't just a small change. It is a total shift in how you look at the problem. Boom! There it is. Just by changing that one question, you change the entire game. The spotlight moves away from what one person owes and shines it on what everyone who is affected needs to get better. So here's the big idea. Crime isn't seen as just breaking some abstract law written down somewhere. No, it's viewed as a tear, a wound in the very fabric of the community. It's about broken relationships, so true justice has to be about mending that tear. And check out who's at the table now. It's not just the government versus the bad guy anymore. The victim is put right at the center of everything, and the entire community is seen as a key player, someone who was also harmed and has a real role to play in fixing things. This whole approach gets that the real harm, the deep-down damage of crime, is all about people. It's about feeling unsafe, it's about trust being destroyed, it's about the connections between us being broken. And so the goal is to fix that very real, very human damage. Okay, so I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds a little idealistic, right? But the thing is, it's been put into practice in some of the toughest situations you can possibly imagine. Let's see what that actually looks like. Take post-apartheid South Africa, their Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Its whole focus was on getting to the truth as a way for the entire nation to heal, not just to get revenge. Or look at Rwanda after the genocide. They used these community courts called gacaca courts to handle this overwhelming number of cases, and the focus was on confession, on bringing people back into the communities they'd torn apart. So the main takeaway here is huge. This isn't some utopian dream. It's a real, battle-tested framework for healing that has actually worked in places where just punishing people would have been a total disaster. All right, so we've walked down both paths. Now let's put them right next to each other and see how they stack up. This table really lays it all out, doesn't it? Just look at the difference in every single row. Retributive justice zones in on the offender. Restorative justice widens the lens to focus on relationships. One is all about the numbers, how many years, how much in fines. The other is about the quality of the healing. And that leads to completely different goals, punishment versus healing, and totally different outcomes, a balanced legal sheet versus real social repair. Okay, so after all that, where do we land? Which one is the right one? Well, maybe that's the wrong way to even think about it, because these two ideas, they don't have to be enemies. They're just tackling different parts of the same problem, and both parts are incredibly important. Retributive justice holds up that crucial idea that we're responsible for our actions, and restorative justice protects the very relationships that hold a society together. And that, right there, is the real challenge for any society. A truly great justice system probably needs to be able to do both. It needs to know how to hold people accountable, absolutely. But it also needs to know how to heal the wounds that crime always leaves behind. So the question it leaves us with is, how do we get that balance right?